3,000 years ago, at the base of Mount Sinai, a massive engineering project began. The builders gathered to construct a highly secure vault to protect the laws of human behavior. They started with acacia wood. Out in the desert, acacia is incredibly dense and naturally resistant to insects and rot. It acted as a rugged biocomposite, light enough to carry, but tough enough to survive decades of travel across the sand. To protect that wooden frame, it was plated entirely in pure gold. Because gold never rusts or tarnishes, it formed an immortal chemical shield. In the harsh sun, this chest acted like a high-definition mirror, reflecting solid light. The lid, known as the mercy seat, required an even higher level of skill. It was hammered out of a single massive slab of gold, using a technique called repoussé. Two winged figures, the cherubim, were sculpted into the top, forming an arch with their wings to serve as the chest's eternal security guards. This flawless craftsmanship yielded the Ark of the Covenant. It functioned as a mobile library, housing the physical stones etched with the Ten Commandments, the rules that enabled a desert-dwelling people to live together in harmony. Because human hands were never meant to touch it, the Ark featured a brilliant mechanical transport system. Golden poles were slid through rings on the sides, allowing a specialized team of engineers, the Levites, to float the heavy chest across rivers and dunes in perfect sync. After hundreds of years on the move, the Ark finally arrived in Jerusalem. It was placed deep inside the Temple of Solomon, resting squarely in the center of a windowless cube of stone. Then, the most precious object of the ancient world completely vanished. There is no historical record of it being ransomed, melted down, or captured in battle. It simply disappeared. To understand how something this heavenly guarded leaves an empty space in history, we have to look past the ruins of the Middle East. We have to follow a 3,000-year-old trail down into the heart of Africa. The connection starts with a diplomatic visit. According to Ethiopian history, the magnificent Queen of Sheba traveled to Jerusalem to test the intellect of King Solomon. They shared their secrets and formed a lasting royal alliance between the north and the south. Their son, Menelik I, later visited his father in Jerusalem. The details of his return trip are recorded in a 700-year-old book called the Kebra Nagast. It states that Menelik and a group of young nobles took the Ark with them, moving the Golden Heart back to his African homeland. This map shows the scale of that migration. Moving a solid gold chest over 1,500 miles required floating it down the liquid highways of the Nile River, passing the giant pyramids of Egypt and pushing deep into the continent. Eventually, the path leaves the river and climbs into the Ethiopian highlands. Sitting over 7,000 feet up, the air here is thin and cool. It acts like a massive natural refrigerator, creating an ideal environment to preserve ancient artifacts. By making this grueling trek, Menelik successfully extracted the treasure from a region constantly shifting between warring empires and secured it inside a naturally defended fortress of stone. The journey ended in the city of Aksum. This was the capital of an ancient, capable empire, evident by the massive stelae they left behind, towers carved from a single piece of granite that reached 70 feet into the sky. Right in the center of that ancient city sits the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion. Next to its glassy dome is a small square building surrounded by a spiked fence. This is the Chapel of the Tablet, where the Ark rests today. Inside that inner chamber lives a single monk. He is the guardian of the Ark. Once selected for this honor, he never leaves the grounds for the rest of his life, serving in isolation as the sole human shield for the artifact. Even behind closed doors, the Ark remains active. Aksum functions like a central server, transmitting energy across the country through a cultural network. The receivers are called devotes, small stone or wooden replicas. Every Ethiopian church requires one to be officially active. This system means the physical chest doesn't need to be visible. The replicas physically anchor the server's connection, allowing the spirit of the Ark to beat inside every village, every single day. Today, archaeologists use high-tech lidar to scan the soil around Aksum, discovering massive underground vaults and palace foundations without turning a single shovel. Yet that technology is never used to scan inside the chapel of the tablet. That invisible boundary is maintained through cultural respect. Keeping the doors closed naturally protects the artifact from foreign empires and modern treasure hunters. Every January, that hidden power is celebrated during the festival of Timkat. Priests parade through the streets carrying the replica tabots wrapped heavily in shimmering velvet and gold cloth, balanced on their heads. The air fills with incense as a sea of people, dressed in traditional white linen and holding geometric silver crosses, gathered to sing. Eventually, the crowd plunges directly into the cool waters of the ancient stone pools in a massive display of communal joy. These deep, unbroken rituals show the Ark in its true light. It functions as the active, vibrating engine of a culture that has maintained its distinct identity for 3 millennia. This brings us back to the most common question. Is the exact chest constructed at Mount Sinai actually sitting behind that spiked fence? In many ways, the Ark functions as a classic MacGuffin. While the object itself sets the entire story in motion, the physical authenticity of the wood and gold inside that room is secondary to the unifying belief it inspires on the outside. If someone were to force those doors open and scientifically authenticate the chest, the power of the mystery would instantly evaporate. The longevity of the story relies on the doors staying closed. The true legacy of the Ark is visible in the people who protect it. Over thousands of years, the legend has fostered a shared history and an unshakable faith that binds millions of individuals together. The Ark's longevity proves that humanity's most significant secrets are often best kept hidden, protected, and respected high up in the mountains of Africa.